We're back on another edition of the Coach Dave Jacobs Show, brought to you once again by Sinclair Foods. And we bring in Coach Jacobs, starting year number 5 at JCHS, going on the road to Granite City this past Friday night, and coming home after allowing 49 points to a Granite City team that I'm sure opened some eyes.
Yeah, we're always excited to see where we're at as a team, especially when you have a young team and you're on the road and the atmosphere was exciting. I thought we had a great crowd, a great following, and they did too. And it was a great atmosphere, and our kids started off well, and things just didn't go our way throughout the game for various reasons. But I do like where we're at as a team, and I know our kids will bounce back.
Started the game with a takeaway on Granite City's first offensive possession. They had gone down the field, and then they fumbled the ball, turned it over to the Panthers. Jersey got the ball, and a big play from your young quarterback, finding Derek Hill, who made a good move, broke a couple of tackles, and a long touchdown.
Yeah, Derek really showed up. He had a great game. He caught the ball well. He ran with passion, and he made 2 or 3 back shoulder cuts on some good athletes that they had, and was able to score. So, and Drew hung in there and made the right read and got him the ball, and that was an exciting start to get some points after a turnover.
And then the second offensive possession, another big play from your young quarterback, hooking up with Whitman on a long pass play that set up a score.
Yeah, and that particular play, Drew got flushed out of the pocket, and the old Drew would have just took off running, and we've really been working on him when he gets out to keep his eyes down the field. And then we have what's called a scramble drill, where the kids will adjust their routes, because normally the pass coverage breaks down when the quarterback gets flushed, and Blake stayed with his route, and Derek Hill came back, and we actually had 2 guys wide open, and he had time to go for the deeper ball, and Blake made a great catch on that one, and we were able to come back to Blake and score on a different play. But yeah, I mean, our young kids are showing some really good signs early.
So you got ahead early and maintained the lead through the first half, even though Granite City scored a touchdown late in the half to draw within 1. They missed the extra point. So going to halftime, you led by 1, but Granite City kind of took the momentum away in that second quarter. Their running game started to get on track.
Yeah, they really did, and I was impressed with their senior quarterback. He led their team and made some nice runs, and there's just a difference between a 15-year-old and an 18-year-old, in a varsity game, and he had 3 years experience, and they really did have 3 really, really solid linemen, some big kids. Number 52, I thought was an excellent player on both sides of the ball, and they were able to to run the ball, and they got after us, and they have some really good athletes there, and got them in space a couple times and big played us. So, we're just going to have to do a better job.
After winning the coin toss and deferring to the second half, you got the football to start the second half and marched down the field, but came up empty. Got all the way down to the 10-yard line and 3 incompletions. Was that the turning point in the game? Would the outcome been different if you would have got points that possession?
I think so, but we stalled for a while. I mean, there were 3 or 4 possessions in a row where we would stall, or we'd have some penalties. We really kind of got out of rhythm, and that kind of determines your play calling. In hindsight, I probably, because we're really young, so I probably should have went more into that stack eye that we ended up going to, just to settle our boys down and just get some first downs. And I'm learning what kind of team we have here too, and as coaches, we learned a lot, and you see on film and learn what your kids can and can't do. And, I should have got into a different part of our offense just to settle them down and try to get some momentum back, and by moving the chains and keeping the ball away from them.
You use that stacked eye in a couple of different ways. You mentioned slowing the game down a little bit, protecting the lead, and Is it a way to maybe give some of your players a rest, especially early in the season? We saw some cramping injuries, cramping problems again too.
Yeah, and that's a big concern, and we really don't know what to attribute that to. I mean, our kids tell us they're drinking fluids all day, and we're on them. I mean, we go hard Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, in our weightlifting and practices, and then, really we shut her down on Thursday and and Friday, so they're getting 48 hours of pretty good rest. So I mean, it's just something that our trainer is concerned, and she's looking at some new things, and they were cramping on their side too. I mean, their kids were coming out, so I don't know if it's just the first game. I didn't think it was real hot,
no.
But when both teams are playing no huddle, there's not much rest in between for either side.
Do you anticipate subbing in some of your receivers, even though you can go with the no huddle? I know that you don't do that a lot, but could that be something that could spell a couple of players for a couple of plays and maybe keep them from cramping?
Well, that and there's a pretty considerable drop off between our number ones and our number two receivers right now, because they're just some really, really young guys. But we're really trying not to have guys go both ways. So, Derek Hill, as one receiver, Blake Whitman, Logan Metzler's the only kid that really goes both ways, starting. Rulo does some, but we could sub him out. So, yeah, I mean, we're looking at bringing some other kids along where we can do more subbing, but we're really trying to platoon as much as we can so you can keep your guys out there.
That stacked eye look had some success. Now, in the second half, I understand Granite City may have been subbing out some of their ones after taking a big lead, but it did have some success, and you've got some different weapons in that look.
Yeah, we bring in we call it our muscle group. So we'll bring our strong running backs in, and two tight end set, and basically Drew will call the play based on how they're aligned. It forces the defense to balance up, and if they try to cheat to one side, we can run it to the other. So you're going to get positive plays. And again, in hindsight, when we were struggling, especially after that second or third drive that we stalled out, probably should have went into that to settle us down, because they were getting the momentum, and that's a good way to to kind of take it back.
And it's not necessarily just a running formation either. He had success throwing the ball.
Oh, yeah, we can pass out of that. It's a run, play action kind of deal, and it's something that, we've done here for the last 3 or 4 years, and it's been really good to us in short yardage on the goal line and in our 4-minute drill when we're trying to, eat some clock. But it's also a good way for us to, keep the ball, get calmed down, and get some first downs and try to gain momentum.
Did you look at film when you got back Friday night, or do you wait to Saturday?
No, I can never sleep until I watch the film. I mean, there's always reasons why things happen, and you don't see them in the game because, you kind of know. But, I don't sleep after a game until I can watch it, and then stuff, then.
Is that by yourself? Are you watching it by yourself?
Well, on away games, everybody goes home and watches it. It's already loaded up. We got assistant coaches that are in charge of, as soon as the game's over, they can start loading it online. And so, by the time we got home, the game was already up. So, when the kids go home, they can watch the film. We watch it, and then we brought the kids back in Saturday morning after the JV game. Our JV won big Saturday, so that was good to see. Especially Kurt Hall, he did a great job, and prayers go out to his family and his little sister who's battling, and so that was good for him. But we'll bring the guys in. We brought them in at 11 and watch the film together, and like I said, we got great kids. They're going to learn from it. We're going to be fine.
I want to get into more how you watch a film. Do you have a clipboard, or do you have a sheet that has maybe you just fill in the blanks? Do you have a blank sheet of paper in front of you? How do you watch film, and how do you take notes?
Well, we divide up. We have an end zone camera, and so that's really for the linemen. So, Coach Metzler will take the offense and defensive linemen into another room, and he'll just watch the end zone copy, so they can. And it's behind the linemen, so they can see their footwork and they can see. And then, I watch the press box copy with the skill guys, so we're looking at routes and stuff, and the kids actually grade themselves. So each play that they're in, there's 3 things that they're looking at. 1, did they line up right? So alignment. Did they do their job? Assignment. And did they give great effort? So alignment, assignment, effort. And if they did all 3 of those on that play, they give themselves a plus. If they didn't do one of those, it's a minus. And they keep track as they go. So if you're a plus on this one, a minus on that one, you're back to 0. And at the end, and they're listening to what the coaches are telling them, and they'll write the notes of what the coaches are saying to them. And then at the end, we all come back together, and each kid stands up in front of his teammates, gives his grade, and says one thing that they're going to work on this week to get better. And the whole idea of that is, if each player is getting better at one thing, our team is going to get better. But it also teaches them to watch themselves. Sometimes when kids watch film, they're watching the game, and they're not watching themselves. So this makes them watch themselves and grade themselves.
Has that evolved through your coaching career? Have you developed that as a teaching tool?
Yeah, I've done it every year that I've been here. The guy I got it from was Dave Bates over at Auburn. He's done that, and they've had some great success. And high school coaches we don't have time to watch film and grade every kid. The colleges, they do. They have position coaches, they have GAs that grade the kids for them. And then they come in, here's your grade. But in high school, time is precious, and we coaches don't have time to grade it. Now, when I watch it, I know what happened, and I'll be able to tell them.
Do you pull them aside off the field, or do you wait until it's a practice situation when maybe that same play that there was a mistake on during the game is run during practice and bring it up then?
Yeah, we'll know what the mistakes were, and like on Monday night, we'll have a correction period. Where hey, we need to correct this, and we'll do it. But kids are pretty good about, hey, coach, what do I need to do to get better? Drew is like that. Where my reads right, or this, So most of the time the kids will go to their position coaches, and they know what they did wrong. And again, that's their thing that they need to work on. I don't tell them to pick 5 things to work on. I tell them to pick one. Pick one, and let's get better at that thing, and then we can get better.
Now, obviously, I guess when you give up 49 points, the defense is probably going to have some minuses on their chart. But there were some good things that you saw. Derek Norris looked like he had a pretty good game, getting after some people, made some tackles for loss.
Connor Norris.
Yes,
Connor, linebacker, yeah. And even Connor, I mean, they were running a power read kind of play where the guard pulls and our linebacker wasn't going with them. And then the quarterback would cut it up behind him. And when that happens, I know what's happening. But our kids, sometimes they don't trust their reads. They get to watching the game instead of reacting to their key. And as our linebackers got to key the guards, and they got to react to what that guard does. But sometimes they'll stop and try to find the ball and then go, and it's too late. So they have to react to what they see and make sure they're in the right position. And it's just about trusting what you're taught.
Is that something that as the season goes on, you get more into a game mode and those type of things improve?
Yes, we'll cut down on a lot of our individual time and do more group stuff now, but because it was obvious that that was the big play that they would get us on, was that power read where the front side blocks down, our defensive end wasn't squeezing it down, and our backside linebacker wasn't scraping over the top with the pulling guard. So our DN would get kicked out, and the backside tackle would wash down and get to our linebacker, and there was the hole.
Big hole.
Yeah. So, and the kids saw it, and they know better. They know they're supposed to squeeze the down block. That backer knows he's supposed to get over the top on the guard, but apparently we gotta rep it more in practice so that it becomes a habit.
Something else in the early part of the season, procedure penalties seem to always crop up, and you had a bunch of them the other night.
Yeah, and that's that's frustrating because it really happened on offense, and that just kills drop balls and penalties on first down. Just kill drives. It really does, and and then when you're 3 and out, or they're getting more opportunities. And we had 3 turnovers. We had a fumble on a key offensive drive, and then the 2 picks were unfortunate, and they weren't my quarterback's fault. We had a receiver drop one, and it went to the guy behind him, and then on the other one, a guy was supposed to be blocking an outside backer, and he was turned around watching to see if we caught the screen. Drew had a guy in his face and had to throw it a little bit high, and it went over his head and right to the kid that was supposed to be blocked. So, and then the thing that just killed me was that kickoff return. They were thinking onside. I mean, they had their hands team, and we were supposed to squib it and try to go get it, and for whatever reason we kicked it right to their best guy, and
he showed why he's his best.
Yeah. You don't want to kick the ball to their best guy in the air, and especially low and fast, and get it to him as fast as can. And that's just not very good football on our part.
And the things that you talked about procedure calls on first down and penalties throughout the game, when Granite City had those things go against them in the second quarter, it stalled their drives, and they weren't able to put their offense together. But once they got it figured out, they started clicking. So Granite City posts the win 49-30, and they get an emotional victory on their home field after a struggle a year ago. In week 2, back on the road for the Jersey Panthers. They take on the Mount Zion Braves in week 2, and you are telling me that they've got a very talented junior class that you got to be aware of.
Yeah, this is the class that they're really kind of pointing to. They're junior heavy. Their quarterback, and they got a number 12 who's a receiver. He's about 6'5", 180, probably the best athlete on the field. He can run. And then he just hired Brett Miller as his defensive coordinator. So
and you know him?
Brett played at Illinois. He played in the NFL, and he's from Decatur. And so they got it going over there. They got the new turf in, and they're excited, and I mean they do a great job over there.
What kind of offense will they feature? The last couple of times we saw them, they're gonna throw it, and they're not gonna huddle much. They're gonna turn up the tempo.
Yeah, they're gonna play fast, and I mean more and more teams are going to that, and they run what's called the Tony Franklin system, which is a no huddle kind of deal, and they'll throw a lot of screens and a lot of play action screens, and they'll fake the screen and get behind you, and they'll run a lot of counter, and so we're going to have to be really disciplined on defense, to shut them down, and then offensively, they're playing a 4-3, and they're blitzing a lot and locking down with the outside guys and playing a cover 2 behind it. So they're trying to get 9 guys on the run and bring it and make people throw.
You didn't get your running game very much untracked. Jonathan Pirtle did do a pretty nice job running the ball. He protected the ball well, except for the one fumble. You got him the ball a couple of times on screens. Were you happy with the way Jonathan Pirtle had his first start as a running back?
Oh yeah, John's a great kid, and we were just. I mean, they were a lot bigger than us up front. It's hard to move people. But we're adding some stuff in, hopefully some quarterback run stuff where we can get Drew going, kind of a lot of the same stuff that we ran with Mitch, to get him going in the game a little bit more and making them defend him, and that's stuff that we're adding this week. So, hopefully get him and John going as well. So, again, we're always trying to get better and find ways, and we've got to find ways to run the ball, and we will.
Jersey plays at Mount Zion on Friday night in week 2 of the high school football season. In week 3, it's the home opener for the Jersey Panthers, and next week on the Coach Dave Jacobs Show, we'll try to emphasize a big home crowd to welcome the Panthers back after 2 weeks on the road, and hopefully a very successful home run with 5 of 7 games at home. That's you got to take advantage of things like that.
We can't wait to get to that point. That's going to be fun.
Coach Dave Jacobs Show brought to you by Sinclair Foods on WJBM.